Friday, 4:30, getting ready for a great weekend, and wanted to give you a bit of a nugget of gold. So on the way, every Friday morning, what I do, and this kind of pertains to this acronym PERMA, which you're going to see in this. Every Friday morning, I meet up with a group of executives and we go for a water ski. The thing about water skiing is it is 27 seconds through the course of your body being torn to bits by a 400 horsepower boat. And as it's doing that, it's like an eraser to the mind. I mean, there is nothing else you could possibly think about other than zipping through the course, making the balls or buoys, and you do this 6 times before you ever break. It's like taking a row machine and doing this for 27 seconds, 6 different times. Incredible for the body. But I've been doing this now for a couple of years, and what it does is it kind of helps me unwind and prepare for transition from grind time. Grind time for me is Monday to Thursday, where I'm working in the business 12 to 14 hour days, literally dozens and dozens and dozens of calls a week. And then I start to transition into mind time. And usually by Saturday morning, that's when I'm at optimum. I'm taking a day to slow down. I wake up Saturday morning and usually all kinds of ideas. I document them. That's how we develop intellectual property. But on the way to water skiing, there is an incredible podcast called Built to Sell Radio. Okay. If you are a founder of a business, it's like a Bible. I mean, it was one of the most popular podcasts. But even as a sales professional who we also serve as sales leaders, it's great because you get into the mindset of founders and the journey it takes. Because I'm a huge believer that being a sales professional is an intrapreneur. It's a business within a business. But there was a guest on the recent episode, and he's a clinical psychologist, I think, and now he deploys psychology to founders. He was once a founder. He saw the mental health issues that go on with founders. And so he now coaches founders on how to become happy. And he had an interesting stat or study he talked about. And this is a phenomenon that every founder knows. We all say to ourselves, I'm successful when, or I'll be happy when. And then you say to yourself, well, when I finally exit the business, or when I find a replacement CEO, or when we win that big contract, or we hit a certain revenue number, oh, I'm going to be happy. Statistically, it almost never happens. And the same goes with sales teams. Sales teams say, when I hit my quota in a year, I'm totally going to be happy. Or, if I win that big contract, or if they give me that territory or that big account, I'm going to be totally happy. Statistically, never does happen. So when he started to study all kinds of people, he developed a framework called PERMA. It's an acronym. 5 elements to, when applied, it's the concept here, it's the small day-to-day wins that actually make people way happier. And I'll kind of back up. He's then analyzed hundreds and hundreds of founders that exited their business. And those that didn't have a plan post-exit, statistically, it's kind of like winning the lottery. Most people are more unhappy when they climb the mountain, they get to the top, and then it's a decline after that because they didn't have a goal for once they got to the top, and then they're kind of left like, what do I do? Same sort of things. Founders will go to exit a business. 2 founders, one will be asked to stay in an earnout and roll over equity. Maybe one is asked to leave. And the founder who stays at first is super jealous, and they say, oh my God, I can't believe that I have to do a 2-year tour of duty and an earnout. You get to sunset. Statistically, the person with the purpose actually is way happier long-term than the person that was exited, didn't have a plan, doesn't know what to do. So I'm going to walk you through what PERMA is and the concept of this. It's actually the daily and weekly and quarterly small wins that is way more fulfilling than the journey itself. And when I heard this, I am the most guilty. I go to a founders summit every year, and that founders summit is at the top of a mountain in British Columbia. And that mountain's called Baldface. I'm actually wearing the hat. There's 48 CEOs that come together. And we live on the top of a mountain for a week. We go cat skiing, and we share deep insecurities and secrets and all the things that happen as founders. And it is kind of incredible how many of us don't see ourselves as successful, but we project that we will be successful one day in the future. And these are great exercises. So I want to share this with people. And here is, and I'm going to look down my teleprompter. I just can't seem to get this thing working. Here is the acronym PERMA, and here's how it works. So the P stands for positive emotion. And in fact, what he states is that it's how you use the small bits, the small wins day to day are more impactful to you as a person than the chase to the big dream. So you win that customer on Friday afternoon, or a customer gives you a great CSAT or NPS score, or you made a great hire. It's these, the team gives you a feedback survey as a founder, and you get glowing reviews. Positive impact, positive emotion on a day-to-day basis, far more important for the longevity of you as a seller, you as a sales leader, you as a founder, than he says in going through the gauntlet of pain for the big exit, the big, M&A deal, the big capital raise, whatever. Statistically, you will be demolished emotionally if you are not focused on day-to-day positive emotions. Number two is called engagement. And inside that, it's going deep into something, when going so deep into something that it feels like time stops. Now, I'm a creative person. I like to believe that I'm a sales professional. Like I am, my number one skill is selling. My second skill is I'm actually good at putting horse blinders on and diving into projects. I can build product. I can do financial modeling. I can do a little bit of left brain and right brain. But it is crazy when he talked about this. He says, you'll know you're in the zone when time stands still. And I'll give you an example. It's 4:39. I'm recording this. I'm bringing the kids to a concert tonight. And I've got to get an asset out the door in the next hour. I'm going to put horse blinders on, put on music. I'm going to put on like chill music, probably World War II jazz. And for an hour, I will be so in the zone, like a rainstorm, an electrical storm could go off around me and I'd have no idea. I can get so focused on it. And it's amazing how fulfilling it actually is. You take a project, and this is kind of that concept of you build rocks and you build pebbles. Pebbles are the actions and activities or the tasks and projects that go to fulfill a quarterly goal or a milestone, like a rock. And taking a rock and completing it, or taking a pebble and completing it, is so gratifying. So you'll know that when you're in the zone and you come up for air and you feel accomplished, that's a great thing. Like, you want to be doing that on a weekly basis, diving deep. That's why I take off Fridays. My Fridays are intellectual property design. I use it as a mind day, not a grind day. Next is R, relationships. And it's the small, meaningful relationships within your business that you connect with frequently. It's your business partners. It's your ELT team. Like, take note that you better really enjoy being around each other, because one day that'll all be gone. And it is crazy. I've owned multiple businesses, and I spent way more time with my partners of those firms than I did my own family. It's just reality. And it is amazing how one day it just vanishes. Like, the relationship, people move on, and you cherish those moments. Like, you kind of miss them. So that was a big one that I heard. And it's try to forge and focus on those relationships. The last two, mindfulness or meaningfulness for the M. So P.E.R.M. for the M. Focus on the things that feel fulfilling or provide fulfillment. Most social impact, sports, corporate events, like, there's your business world, but bringing it into the social world, I think, is where he was going with this. your sales kickoffs, your corporate retreats, your ELT planning sessions, like the meaningfulness that what you're doing is that you're trying to build something great for your customers and for the market, and you're doing it together. And then the last piece is achievement, knocking off goals. And it comes back to pebbles and rocks. There's a concept, I'm trying to remember if it's a Ken Blanchard thing or not. And that's like the 1 minute manager or the 5 minute manager guy. But in Franklin Covey's rocks, you've got pebbles that make up rocks, right? And I'm a believer, sometimes I'll have like 3, 4, 5 tasks sitting on a plate. And I'm like, all of them are due today. But how do I get, and this is something that I've taught myself, how do I go get a quick win right now? I'll actually take the rock, might not be the most urgent, might not be the most, pebble, might not be the most urgent, might not be the most important, but I actually knock it off the plate in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's amazing. There's the same concept David Ramsey teaches about getting out of debt. So imagine you had 3 different credit cards, a line of credit, your mortgage, your car payment, your boat payment, or whatever it might be. He always stresses to do this achievement piece, the A. You find the credit card with the easiest one to pay off and you tackle it instantly. Why? Because it proves to you you can do it. And so if I'm a sales professional, as an example, if I've got a bunch of opportunities and I've been struggling and I do a quick deal, go for the quick win, take on that customer account, like prove and like get a win under the belt. It's incredible how important that is. And so I try to do the same sort of thing with my pebbles and my rock, lining up to my rock. I've got 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. I'm going to tackle the one I can do in 15 minutes, get it off the plate. Now I've proven like, oh, this is like a staircase or this is like a march. I just took a couple steps. I've got inertia. I'm ready to go. I can keep doing this. So I hope that this helps. This is a little different than I usually talk about, but these are important things. When I, as a founder, I listen to, 10 podcasts a week, and I try to coalesce things that I hear and how it applies to offshoring, sales and marketing best practices, pipeline creation, all the things that I'm a big fan of. But us sellers, we our health, our mental health is actually usually one of the biggest determining factors between success and failure. So many sellers can't crack the code. That is the massive amount of disappointment, no's, the difficulty of it. Founders, deal with this every day. Every single day is a 4-alarm fire. I can't think of a day I didn't wake up and I didn't get a WhatsApp or a text or a call or an email or a bank calling, or there's always a fire. Sometimes sellers don't see this all the time. And these are these things you can do that when these fires come, you don't dwell on them, or you don't say to yourself, like, I'm only going to be a successful seller if like one day I make my quota a year from now. You can only control 2 things. You can control the decisions you make and the actions you take. So back up and realize these are the only 2 things I can control, but I can control the little things I do, these PERMA steps I can control on a daily and a weekly basis to help me feel better. So I'm like better prepared to be successful mentally so I can show up and do the things that I need to do. So I hope you found this valuable. I think I've been talking a while here, 14 minutes. Hope you found this valuable.